Hello, and welcome to my channel, Mental Health Betterment with Sal. Now, as you can tell from the title of the video, today we will be discussing whether antidepressants are for you. Now, I want to preface this video. There's one takeaway of this video. Second guess everything people tell you. Now, I am not a clinical psychiatrist. What I say in this video should not be the final say in your decision whether to take antidepressants or not. You should second guess everything people tell you, even your doctors. Check with a doctor. Go look up the medication he may have prescribed you. Just don't take it just like that. There are serious consequences to just not questioning anything. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about first the different types of antidepressants. There are 5 classes of antidepressants. Class 1 is serotonin reuptake inhibitors. SSRIs increase serotonin by inhibiting reuptake of the neurotransmitter. Serotonin, for those of you who don't know, is a chemical that aids in betterment of mood, helps you sleep, digestions, helps expel things out of your body, also helps with wound healing, bone health, blood clotting, etc., etc. Next type is class 2, serotonin and norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. These increase serotonin, just like the other one, while also increasing norepinephrine in the brain. Norepinephrine is a chemical similar to adrenaline, and it aids in our flight or fight response and also increases our blood pressure. The next type is the atypical antidepressants. These, in addition to targeting serotonin or norepinephrine, these may also target dopamine. Dopamine is another chemical, and in layman's terms, it just makes you feel good. It's sort of a high. The next antidepressants is tricyclics and tetracyclics. These increase serotonin and norepinephrine in the brain. And finally, class 5's monoamine oxidase inhibitors. MOIs are not frequently used, but they can be very effective. One thing to keep in mind is that everybody has different chemical compositions. Some people aren't able to produce serotonin at all, while some people are able to produce it in copious amounts. Everybody's brain is different, and everybody's going to have different side effects. Some common side effects of SSRIs and SNRIs, since they both produce serotonin, the side effects are pretty similar. They both make you feel agitated, shaky, or anxious, and make you feel sick. They give you indigestion, stomach aches, diarrhea, constipation, loss of appetite, dizziness, insomnia, headaches, and loss of libido. Tricyclic antidependency, which affect not only serotonin but also norepinephrine, which is a type, well, not type, it's a chemical similar to adrenaline. It can cause dry mouth, a slight blurring vision, constipation, problems passing urine, drowsiness, dizziness, weight gain, excessive sweating, arrhythmias, palpitations. However, there's also bigger risks such as seizures, and in some cases they also cause diabetes in long-term use. However, that's not a very common one, as well as suicidal tendencies and thoughts. These are rare cases. However, if you feel any of these for a long period of time and you're not seeing any benefits, I'd recommend looking with a doctor to switch your antidepressant medication, or maybe get off of them altogether if you feel like that's an option for you.
we just talked about the side effects, or the negative side effects, of antidepressants. Remember, it's not a wonder drug that's gonna work right away. It takes a couple weeks for the drug to take effect. If you feel any of the symptoms we just talked about and they're not subsiding and you're not seeing any improvements with your condition, I would recommend going to see a physician or going to see somebody that can change your prescription and give you something else. Don't feel discouraged. It's not a wonder drug that works immediately. There's several kinds for different reasons. Everybody's brain works differently, so different drugs will affect it differently. Now, that's enough out of the negative out of antidepressants. Now let's talk about the positives of antidepressants.
Now let's look at how effective antidepressants are. How effectively do antidepressants relieve the symptoms? Now this was an experiment done using tricyclic antidepressants, SSRIs and SNRIs as well. And they were both found to be equally as effective, and this was an experiment done using placebos. And they gave placebos to 100 people and antidepressants of these variety to another 100 people. Now, without antidepressants, 20 to 40 notice an increase in their mood or an improvement in their symptoms, while with antidepressants, 40 to 60 people noticed an improvement in their symptoms within 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if you look at this chart here, approximately 20 extra people felt better with antidepressants. Now, this is, while it does not look significant, it really is. Because most people aren't going to be savvy to the same kind of antidepressants. They didn't use all the ones I mentioned above, like Maui's, atypical, etc., etc. They use SSRIs, SNRIs. Now, here they show us that about 40 to 60 people out of 100 got better with antidepressants. That's a huge amount of people that are getting better with antidepressants. Now, you could say, what about remission? No, that's where you go. Here we talk about relapses and remission. Now, it should be mentioned that several people do go through relapses with antidepressants after being on them for several years. Now, let's look at the numbers for this. So, how well can antidepressants prevent relapse? We look at this. Without antidepressants, about 50 out of 100 people who took placebo had relapsed within 1 to 2 years of their symptoms, meaning they started feeling worse again after 2 years. They started feeling worse within 2 years. Now, people with antidepressants, only 23 out of 100 who took antidepressants had a relapse within 1 or 2 years. That's a very significant number. That means that almost 77 people out of the 100 who took antidepressants did not relapse within 2 years. That's significant. That's huge. That means that people are, not going back into the depression.
For the sake of this video, I interviewed 2 people, both on the more severe side of depression, both admitting to me that they have attempted self-harm in the past, which is heartbreaking to hear. But the both of them also have been on antidepressants longer than a year. So I went up to them and asked them about their experience with them, because I've never personally been on antidepressants, and I can't begin to fathom what it's like. I've never been on a sort of medication like that. And they both told me that they thought antidepressants were helpful. They both said that they were a very helpful aid in their fight against depression. Both of them were very different cases, though. One of them said that the antidepressants was sort of let them exist. it let them, like, it didn't make them feel happy, which is a misconception for me. So I initially thought that antidepressants would make you feel happy, like if you're on depression, but no, actually, it's not that. It just makes it tolerable, apparently, in some cases. Again, which is so interesting because there's several different effects and ways it can affect you. But he said that it basically let him exist and cruise by life while he got better, and while he was looking for help, and while he was trying to get better. Well, my other interviewee told me that she would get bouts of, it was more chaotic, if I could say. She would go through phases where she was feeling unhappy, and then she would also go through phases that she was existing or cruising by, as I said earlier. And she was also going through phases where she was feeling a lot happier than she usually would, which was very interesting because I never thought it would be like that chaotic, like with that. Well, especially for my second interview, because I thought my second interviewee's depression was a lot more severe than the first. Because my second depression is, she told me that her brain wasn't capable of producing serotonin, and that she's been like that for a long time and she didn't know, and this caused sort of all ill-mannered things around her life. And she said that the antidepressants basically saved her. It saved her life, which helped convince me, because at the time I thought antidepressants, well, most of them at least, were sort of placebo. I thought they were a ploy by Big Pharma, telling people, oh, here, take this pill to make you feel better. And then it was a placebo, and in reality, it wasn't doing anything to help people. That's what I thought initially. But after interviewing both of these people, I saw that there is some aid, there is some value in antidepressants that can provide people with depression. And it's definitely an aid to look into if you're struggling with depression. After talking about the different points, about the pros, cons, the background, what antidepressants are, if you do feel like you should get on them, I encourage you to get them. Initially, before researching this, I thought antidepressants, for the most part, at least most of them, weren't really that much of a help. Like I said earlier, I thought they were placebos. I thought they were like a tactic by Big Pharma to try to sell more antidepressants. Now, that may be true for some of them, but I found that most of them are a help to people, and they are a resource worth looking into. Next, I want to talk about this for the people that might not want to be on antidepressants and might not want to use them just yet. They feel like they shouldn't or don't want to. Now, there are several things you can do. The biggest one that everybody talks about, therapy. Therapy is great. My sister goes to therapy. She tells me all about it. She tells me that it's a great help to talk to somebody, to have somebody listen to you, to have somebody to talk back to, and have somebody, somebody you can confide with. It helps. Now, I understand a lot of people can't afford therapy, but if you can't go to therapy, I do recommend opening up to a friend or a trusted family member, somebody you can open up to. Now, if you're a more private person and you don't want to go out telling people you care about or a therapist that you're struggling with these issues, there are other ways you can exercise. Now, when you hear exercise, you're probably thinking, extreme hardcore running or maybe hardcore weightlifting. No. While that is exercise, and there are several benefits to both, that is not the only thing you can do. There are other ways you can exercise. You can walk. You can do yoga. You can even garden, apparently. Gardening is a huge exercise, apparently, and it's a very calming one. There are several different ways you can exercise, and it has been shown that there are boosts in your mental health, in your physical health, and overall helping you with your depression. Now, maybe you don't have the time to work out every day. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you already do, and you're not seeing any benefits. Okay, the third one, and the final one, is meditation. Now, you may be thinking that meditation, you have to sit down in a quiet room with candles and close your eyes and just breathe. No. While meditation can be done like that, that's not the only way to do meditation. I myself personally meditate before I go to sleep. I lay down, I close my eyes, and I try to go to sleep. And while I'm trying to go to sleep, I think about my day, and I think about how it went, and I think about things, my problems, how I'm going to solve them. I think about these things more and more and more until I reach clarity, until I understand what I want, what I need, and I have peace, and I go to sleep. Now, you may be thinking, I just want to go to sleep before I go to bed. Okay. I also meditate while I'm driving. In most cases, I'm by myself when I drive, and I like to think to myself about my issues and about my things. I think meditating is such a great resource because it lets you, basically, the way I would describe it is talking to yourself. You're talking to yourself, basically. You're focusing on your issues, you're focusing on something until it becomes clear, until you reach peace of mind. It can be done anywhere. It can be done while eating. It can be done while exercising if you want to do that while you're exercising. It can be done anytime, any place, anywhere. That's the end of the video. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you do consider researching more on this because it's a very important topic. And if you're watching this and you do have depression and you're struggling right now, don't give up. Things will get better. You will get better. Don't give up. There is hope. As long as you're kicking, as long as you're there, struggling, you'll live. You'll be fine.